Wow, episode 98, everyone. It is going to be a complete understatement saying that this episode was the best episode of the season. I cannot tell you that during the whole season of My Hero Academia Season 5, I have not smiled as much through a whole episode as I did this episode. Like, most of this season so far with the arc between 1A and 1B has been mostly okay, and honestly probably the most underwhelming season of My Hero to date. I know that I'm not alone feeling this way. I know that there's a lot of good traits and good qualities and good things that have come out of the season, and there are a lot of things that are going to kind of travel forward as we move into the actual story of My Hero Academia. But in reality, I think when we all look back at Season 5, at least the core one of Season 5, we'll all probably come to agree that, hey, yeah, the training arc was probably the most underwhelming arc next to the festival that we got at the end of Season 4, right? So this is just kind of my personal opinion, but my God, this episode was freaking fantastic. And honestly, the best episode of this season. One of the things that I've been saying during this whole season is I wouldn't necessarily mind the training arc if we were given things outside of just the, Class 1A versus 1B stuff, right? And what I mean by that is if we had gotten other things supplementary along with it, like things that are going on outside of this training, I would be okay with it. We've gotten it in little spurts so far at the beginning of the season. We got to see the Endeavor Hawk stuff. We've gotten to see a little bit of Endeavor's backstory with him and his growing relationship with Todoroki. And then now we got to see Deku and his quirk kind of like manifesting and everything that took part of that. We even got to see Uraraka and some of her past. So before I jump too far into that, what I mean by it is like I would have really loved the season if we had gotten, kind of cutaways to things that are happening outside. If we got cutaways to, Gran Torino investigating, doing things. If we got cutaways to, kind of the beginnings of what we're going to transition to into the second core with, like, the League of Villains and kind of, like, what we're getting into that. If we got different cutaways of, Endeavor saving the day a little bit more, his growth. If we got cutaways, to other things that are going on outside of just this training arc, I think that if we had gotten more of that along with the training, I think it would have been a lot more entertaining, more engaging, and as a fan, I would have enjoyed it a little bit more, especially like as a critic. But regardless, we got what we got. It is what it is. So with this episode, I mean, there's really a lot to unpack in this episode. It's the beginning. It's the fifth and final battle of the training arc between Deku and Shinzo. That's really the ultimate headway that's really happening, during the season, right? This is what we've been building up to the whole time is with Shinzo and with Deku. And Deku and his team, they have a lot of faults because they're not the most powerful, right? You have Mina with her acid, you have Uraraka with her floating ability, and we have our grapefruit boy. We have him with Grape Rush and everything. And it's just one of those things that, they realize that, hey, we're not as versatile and as powerful as like Bakugo's team before it. We have a powerhouse that's at the center with Deku, right? And he's going to be the leader, but we don't have the pieces. We don't have a Jiro who can hear sounds and kind of pinpoint where enemies are. So they have to be more strategic about it because they have this very minimalistic set of versatile powers. Although they're very effective, the versatility just isn't there. And the other reality is, they're facing up against 5 instead of 4, which is all good as well. So, with all that being said, we have Deku playing Point. He's kind of being the distraction. And as he's going into distraction, he meets Monoma, which has the copy quirk, which he copied one of the other people in Class B, which is like a poltergeist kind of power where she can manipulate, like objects and items, and she can kind of make them float and kind of go around and stuff. And he copied her quirk. Well, as Deku's going in, he's doing it with the thoughts of, I need to catch Monoma. I gotta catch Monoma. I gotta come. I gotta get it. You know what I mean? And since he has these thoughts and they were so provoking and so anger filled, it essentially caused him to activate his quirk, which is like the black whip quirk. And by having this anger that filled him, it went nuts. It manifested, but B, it went crazy, and it just kind of went out of control. So much so that he had to yell to Monoma to get away. And he ended up having to yell to Shinzo to try and brainwash him. Shinzo's in awe because like, this thing is going everywhere. And then our girl, our top waifu girl, Uraraka, comes in, right? And she comes in like a bat out of hell to hug and just kind of like, hold Midoriya and tell him, you're better than this, get it under control kind of thing. And I was like, what a moment. Like, what a moment that was, that Uraraka, his girl, came in, you know what I mean? Like, she's been idolizing him the whole time in a way. She's in love with him, for one. It's very, very apparent. But she also idolizes him in a way to where it's like the passion that he has to be the hero, the trials and tribulations that he's faced constantly throughout the whole entire season of My Hero has manifested, right? And she's witnessed that, and she's witnessed his growth, and all of those feelings come out where she's like yelling at him to like get it under control, right? And when that happens, we get a flashback of Uraraka as a kid. We get to see her parents. We get to see the first time that she witnessed somebody doing hero work, which I thought was so cool. And, when she witnessed that, she saw that even though her parents go through so much just to live, she saw that for the first time they had, witnessing a hero do hero work, they had true happiness on their face. They were able, the heroes were able to bring that happiness to somebody by saving the day. And she, at that point in life, she changed like, that's me. I want to do that. And I was like, yeah, that's so freaking ass powerful. Like, that's so powerful. And that's traveled with her through through time as she's become who she is. Well, at that point, she screams out to Shinzo, and Shinzo finally has an inner monologue. He brainwashes Deku, and Deku gets snapped into the world. I don't call it meta world, but he gets snapped into the One for All world, and he finally meets the user of the Black Whip quirk, and he gives him the skinny, right? He gives him the insight on, this is what's happening, this is why you're using, this is why it broke out, this is why you need to control it. And he also gave him the insight of like, you're gonna get all these other quirks in addition to this, so they're gonna be the crazy powerful like they've never been because they've been manifesting within One for All for so long. And I was like, God damn, this is dope. This is dope. And then he gets snapped back out to the world, and it's now 1A versus 1B. It's an all-out brawl. So that's kind of where we left off. And as we move into next episode, thankfully it looks like Aizawa and them haven't, they're not going to stop the battle. They're going to allow it to happen. So we're finally going to get the face-off that we all deserve. I hope that we're going to see, we know we're going to see it. We're going to see more of Deku's growth and his control over the Black Whip. We're going to see him try use the power more, which I think he has to. At this point, it's training. You got to train yourself, bro. You know what I mean? And worst case, Shinzo can brainwash him again. But I'm really excited to be able to see that next episode. I honestly think, like, yeah, this was the best episode of the season so far. Especially because, Deku is, at the end of the day, he's the centerpiece he's what holds everything together. He's what pushes the story forward. So finally being able to see something specific to him, growth within him, and everything I thought was like so cool and so powerful. And I'm really excited to move forward into the next piece of the end of this Core 1 in My Hero. So I was like, this is awesome. The other thing I'll touch base on, and then we'll wrap up, is the timeline for My Hero is kind of crazy. They cut away to the Gigantor that happened, and they said like it happened like yesterday or a couple days ago. So we are not like it's only been a few days since like season 4. And I think that's nuts. The timeline is moving so slow in this anime, which I just think is crazy. But regardless, this probably means we're never going to get a time skip. We're never going to see old Midoriya, which is fine. But regardless, guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode. Let me know if you agree with me that this is the best episode of the season yet. And guys, go beyond, plus ultra. Click these videos here. Subscribe. Like the video. Do all that stuff. We'll see you next week, guys, for episode 11. Episode 99, it's crazy. See you guys then. Peace.